All right, here we are. What's up, Friday? What's up, Restoration Nation? Andy McCabe here. Mr. Philip Rosebrook over here, my special guest
Yes,
this
sir.
morning, afternoon, depends on where you're at in the world, I guess. Philip is holding a conference in
San
Uh,
Antonio. Yes,
San
sir.
Antonio. I keep saying Austin.
Yeah,
What are the dates there, Philip?
it's October 28th through the 30th.
October
So coming
28th
up,
through the
coming up.
30th,
Yeah.
called the Rebuild Restoration Technology Conference, and
Yes.
we're trying to put some butts in seats. So, Phil, why should people attend? What are they gonna see? Who's gonna be there?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So they should attend because this the technology is such a game changer in today's world. And I kind of have been following this trend of technology for years and saying it's important, it's important, it's important.
Mm,
But now I think it's essential. Something
it's
changed.
essential.
Yeah, something changed in the world, and I think that technology can help you scale a restoration company. One of the challenges in the past has always been we can't find people,
Mm,
and so now we have this golden opportunity to leverage the staff and the people that we have through really good technology. So I don't know that we necessarily start replacing lots of people, but we grow without having to add lots of people. And
mm,
so you know that you sit and do estimates from kind of for around the world from Bend, Oregon, or wherever your estimators are, and that reality was just an idea of how technology has changed the world of restoration, and it changed the world
okay.
because we leverage the assets and resources that we have to do what we do and to do it better and to do
Yes.
it faster, more effective, scale performance. And so, in the old days, back in the old days, people could you had a good estimator, and a really good estimator could probably write 3 to 4 million in estimates, and that was a lot of work. And
3
in
million
today's
was a
world,
lot. 3 million was a heavy
yes,
lift.
it really was. I've seen people now in restoration companies writing $15 million in estimates.
Mm,
And amongst the things that changed was we removed a lot of the downtime, created massive efficiencies by getting rid of that windshield time. You
yep.
said, okay, I've
Yep.
got an estimator, and if I'm going to pay him for an 8-hour day of work, if I can get him doing 7+ hours worth of estimates, I can really get some scalable performance. And
Mm,
so that was just something that is kind of this idea of technology driven kind of from the insurance world, insure tech changing the insurance world. Say, okay, well, wait a minute, restoration is changing dynamically in the same way,
huge.
and it wasn't as relevant a year ago. Today it
Mm,
is, and tomorrow it's going to be essential. So what I did is said, if we take a typical trade show, take a typical RIA or Crawford or whatever. I mentioned the TPAs here in front of the anti-TPA audience, but if we went to a trade show, any other venue, everybody's there. Not everybody. There's a lot of technology players there, but they're interspersed with everybody else. And it
mhm,
gets
mhm.
confusing to say, okay, what do I need in my business? How can I leverage that? How does it make a difference? How does it make a difference for me and my company? And how do I kind of make sense of this mess? There's so much out there, and everything I do can add value to my company, but I can't do it all.
Mm,
So
okay.
what I figured we're going to do is let's bring them all together. Let's bring it in a format and a venue where people can start comparing and contrasting. They can create a
Okay.
strategic approach to technology. And so that's what I do. We're taking all the technology options that are out there and saying let's be strategic about what we do.
Okay.
So that's kind of so why should people come? Because they can look at the different various technology options. They can learn from the stage, from the presenter saying, here's what we're doing in our business. Here's how we're scaling, leveraging. Here's the problems we're solving, the results we're getting. And then go to the trade show floor and say, okay, I'd like to learn more about what's going on. Tell me how you can benefit my business.
Okay.
And I originally pitched this to Paul Donald with Encircle and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this conference. What do you think? And he said, Phil, there's too many events in the industry right now.
Mm,
But I also think if you took a strategic approach to technology, I'm in.
okay.
So
Yeah.
So part of it's not here's just technology. Here's technology. Here's a strategic approach. Here's how to make a decision, a qualitative and quantitative decision in your company.
So it sounds like it's just time to have a a tech-focused, a tech-centric
Cool.
restoration conference because
Yes. Yeah.
along with all the other things, this is such an important it's an important aspect of our businesses today. But tomorrow it's going to be so it's if you're not on board, if you're not starting to put these force multipliers into your business and using them and getting comfortable with them, you're going to be passed. You're going to be passed up.
Yeah.
You're going to be a dinosaur, and AI and everything else is it just makes it a requirement that yeah, we don't need to we need other conferences. I think it's nice to get
Yeah.
together, but I think we need this conference. This conference needs to
Yeah.
be the perennial, hey, this is where I'm going to go. This is going to be um oh, what's the big tech conference where they Apple always does a
Yes.
presentation.
Yes. Oh, it's in Vegas in
Something
January,
con.
and it's something I've been wanting to go to. But that was kind of my. I listened to that.
Yeah.
It'll come to me when I stop thinking about it. I was thinking about that in my vision for the future of where we go with the rebuild. Is it becomes the technology conference where we've got drones flying in the air, we've got some robotics,
Mhm.
we've got releases of content, we got new releases of software, we've got game changers, things
Mm.
that are different and that's my vision of the future. It's tough, for somebody to create a product launch when I create an event that start, it's the first year. So there are going to be some
Yeah.
releases, but at the same time, on a CME or what is that? Anyhow,
Yeah.
CES, Consumer Electronics Show. Consumer
Yes.
Electronics Show in Vegas.
Yes.
That's the one that's three football fields underneath one roof
Yeah.
and or
Yeah.
multiple roofs. So yeah, that kind of made sense to me. It sort of clicked and said, "Gosh, could we do something like that? Could we make this something that becomes a flag for restoration companies saying, okay, I see that, or for technology providers saying, okay,
Mhm.
if I'm going to
Mhm.
be in front of market leaders, if I'm going to make a difference, if I'm going to create a game changing technology, let's release it around the rebuild conference."
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense. So who's gonna be there? Who's showing up so
uh,
far?
yeah. So, are you talking about vendors or contractors
Well, let's start with
or both?
vendors. Let's start
Okay.
with,
Okay. Yeah.
the sponsor, one of the main sponsors, Albi. They're technology
Yes. Yeah.
focused for
Yep.
sure.
Actually, and I'm going to go sit down with Alex in about a week. We're going to do a podcast, kind of as
Okay.
a pitch for what's going on, and just and kind of outline how my conference is setting up. And so they're one of my key partners on this event,
Mhm.
and I really like what Alex and his team are doing. They're game changers, and so yes, Alex, Kevin Dooley, Kahi. Kevin's
Mm.
essential and
Mm.
also helping me craft and get my mind around what this is going to look like, what this is going to be. And so, and Kahi's got some really cool releases coming out. They got some
Yeah, they
neat
do.
things. In Circle, Magic Plan. Magic Plan. Just I saw their technology a
Kind of
couple
a
years
dark
ago.
horse in the restoration
Yeah,
field.
yes, they are. But it's sort of game changing. There was a lot of people doing imaging from job sites going right to dimensioning, and you'd have to wait a day for it to come back, and all of a sudden you've got now this platform that says I can go out, I can walk through, I can with my tablet, with my phone, and I quickly dimension, and by the time I leave the job site,
It's
I've got
done.
my
Mhm.
my 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 digital sketch and dimensioning done, that I can actually now integrate into other platforms and technologies. So
Mm.
I, th- I think that it's not it, that maybe becomes the standard for how things are going to be done in the future. But there's also other technologies that don't even require the same. I talked to somebody today. I don't know if they'll be there or not, but they'll do the same result without lidar. You can now
Mm.
do it with an Apple iPhone. You can your Google phone. You could have whatever
Mhm. Mhm.
technology that doesn't have to. It becomes more ubiquitous. So
Yeah,
let me see where I
pictometry has
go.
come a
Yeah.
long ways, especially with
Yes.
the higher quality cameras we have in our everyday device. that we carry around with us
Mhm.
everywhere. It feels to me like there is an abundance right now of people saying, "Yeah, we do that," as far as sketching is concerned.
Yes.
Um, did Verisk? Did you have a conversation with Verisk, or are they gonna wait till
Yeah,
next year?
they may or may not be there. I mean, part of it's the story. I I'll take it down just a real quick diversion here.
Sure.
I woke up in January and I thought of this show, and I thought, shoot,
Right.
somebody needs to do this. And so I did not get everything up and rolling, websites, sponsorships, everything until I started conversations in March, April. It was
Yeah,
May, June by
that's
the
tough
time it
to
was really
do that
finalized.
from 0 idea to
Yeah.
having an actual conference within the same year. It's a heavy lift.
It is tough. So Verisk has told me that their funds, their marketing and trade show funds were used up.
Huh,
However, I've got potentially, right now it's penciled in Aaron Brunko to be doing a presentation, but they also
okay,
said he may or may not be available. I've got one of the senior folks. It might be is it Dave Obert?
okay.
Uh, filling in. So there, Verisk will be present,
Hmm,
and I'm still working on twisting their arm to get him to actually have a representation on the trade show booth or trade show floor because I think it's relevant. It's relevant to all of us.
yeah,
Uh, so so anyhow, yeah, they're going to be there, but part of it was just timing, and
okay,
it's one of
yeah,
those burdens that I've had from a few people saying, yeah, man, next year we're in. So, yeah, but that's
I
okay.
imagine.
It's going to be a great show for the people that are there. And then I got support from CoreLogic. CoreLogic says, yeah, we'll come. We're going to support you.
Nice.
We don't want to ship a big trade show there, but we know it's important that we're represented. And so they're going to come and support. They're not necessarily going to be on the trade show floor, which a lot of people just know who they are and what they do, and so I'll give them some time to actually have some stage time and presence outside that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, then what is where is technology taking this industry specifically? How is on a broader terms, how is restoration being transformed today, and where do you
yeah.
see it going?
So
I know it's a big question.
yeah, it kind of is, and there's so many different directions to technology. I mean, hardware technology or software technology, whatever it is. Um, let's talk about functionality or results at the end. I think
Sure.
technology is removing steps from process. It's removing
Mm,
people from process.
yes.
It's speeding our cycle time. It's allowing us to get a job from a phone call to a closed job or collected cash at the end of it much faster without having to have dedicated people and resources. And so the
Mm,
world that we're living in, the insurance industry has said, okay, yeah, we want more administrative support. We're not paying for it and we're not doing it. You are, and you're doing it for free.
you're
And
doing it for
so
us,
here's the
yeah.
world that right. So we're stuck in this world where we're doing more for less. And so what I we have a field technology meets kind of a software panel we're doing where
Mm,
I think
okay.
in the future you're going to have more stuff that gets directly entered from our field and our field, from our field technicians or even our equipment directly that becomes supportive to what we're doing. It's supportive to
Yep.
standards. It's supportive to documentation. It's supportive to our billing process or even our collections or minimizing
Mm,
our liability or all that stuff. So I think things, so whether that's just the smart technology, using Bluetooth, using whether GPS, however we're doing it, we're using technology that puts software, hardware results at the point of the projects, what we're doing. And by
mm,
doing that, now if you think about, I remember working with a company and we, they became, let me see, over a 2 year period, we doubled in size from 18 to 36 million. Huge company.
mm. That's a
Um,
big step.
at, at 18, they had about 3 administrative people in their office. At 38, we had about 15 administrative
Yeah,
people in the office to
yeah, it
support
was
what we're
not
doing.
linear.
No, no, and that's a problem because where's that?
Yeah.
That's not covered in our 10% overhead. I think it's our 10% overhead.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, that covers it.
So where are we going? I think that we get things that are supportive to field from the field work to the billing and what we're doing.
Okay.
I think some things that maybe become more scary is we go from
Mm,
digital imaging to estimates without people process. I think our estimating
yes.
process, and you're seeing this right now, instead of doing data entry, it's approve, it's review and approve.
It's approve, review and approve. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, and so who was it? Jeff Moore had said at one point, he put out the statement that he didn't think by 2029, I think he said that we wouldn't have people writing estimates. I think that
Mhm.
was it. I might be misquoting
And,
that, but
it
the
depends
flavor of that was
on
right.
that might be Jeff's timeline, but,
Yeah.
it depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
I've got it on, yeah, good solid information that it's gonna be quicker than that.
I think so.
I've heard a timeline within 3 years that humans are not estimating anymore.
I
It's the
think,
bots
yeah,
versus the bots.
I think so. And and you know what? You took a position that was one of the highest paid positions in a company, the
Mhm.
estimator. I mean, you got to know
Mm.
Xactimate, you got to know insurance adjusters, you got to know sales, you got to know all this other stuff. You said, okay, well, boom,
Negotiating.
let's wipe it out. Let's wipe it out. We don't need it anymore. Well, you need a skill set for that. And
Yes.
I go back. My time in the industry started in the '80s, and
Yeah.
it was a weird.
Dating
It was a
yourself.
good
Hold on.
evolution. '88. 88. I don't know when you were there. Uh,
Not
what
then.
happened is everything was pencil and paper. We wrote an estimate. We'd actually
Yep.
write it on a sheet of paper, and the
Yeah.
person who taught me, it's like, okay, well, you have to go on Saturdays and walk Home Depot because you got to know where the price of materials are.
Mm.
You got to know how long it takes to do something. And so it was all
Wow.
almost kind of this time and material thought of, I'm going to need
Yeah.
4 hours, I'm going to need $75 in materials, and then be able to put that into an estimate. We'd then give it to the receptionist who type it up, and the next day have it in a kind of a Word document
Wow.
format and sent out. But
Wow.
the reality, not just to say old school stuff, but the reality was you had to learn how things worked before you knew the technology end of it. And so I
Mhm.
think one of the things that gets lost when technology is writing the estimates is how something's put together.
Yeah.
How what the theories behind the technology are is what the theory is. And if you know what the theory is, then you can look at it and say this makes sense or it doesn't. And as you remove people from process, as you remove the human element, there's just a lot of ones and zeros
There's risk.
that
There's a lot
are
of risk.
that they're well, yeah, I would just say ones and zeros. Computer code writing things that we don't know what it's writing or why or how it got
Yeah.
there. That's the problem. We have a lot of adjusters today. They're not trained in restoration or reconstruction or
Yeah.
how things go in. They just look and say, contractors are crooks, and they're going to charge you too much, and
And
here's
my
your
job is
Xactimate
to
price.
cut it down by
So
50% and move on with
yeah,
life.
yeah.
There is a danger, there is a risk in creating black boxes. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're gonna be up against is we're gonna have a bunch of rookies with no field experience pushing buttons, pushing buttons on a black box, and it's gonna spit out a number. And less we're seeing this first on the carrier side with the seasoned adjusters are few and far between
Mm,
these days. So
right.
we've seen it first on that side, but now we're gonna see it where there's no seasoned estimators or project managers on the restorer side. There's a very real risk that we're gonna lose quality. So how do we protect that?
Well, we protect. It comes in understanding, training,
Mm,
proficiency, professionalism. It's what we do internally in our companies. It's the culture of the company. It's the people there. It's the support staff. It's everything that goes to build and support that on the backside of it. And so becoming too dependent on technology. So
it
my
becomes a crutch.
son, yeah, my son discovered generative AI writing. He's asked me about an intro letter or a cover letter for a resume. My son's 18 years old now, or 19 years old, and he shows it to me. He says, "What do you think of this, Dad?" I said, "Well, that's a really fantastic letter." And he says, "Yeah, I didn't write it." And then he
Yeah.
went back and he says, "You know what? I'm gonna." He says, "That was ChatGPT that wrote it, but he sat down and he wrote his own letter."
Mm,
And we can become lazy at what we do because we have results there that, if we're lazy, can look really good. We don't really think about it. It does it for us. But if we
mm,
don't understand the why behind what, then we become a victim of the technology that we have. And so
mm.
technology is a lever and it's a tool and it's a resource. It better not be everything. And so
Yes,
it gets
yes.
into, how do we manage our business and what proficiency do we give people? Because they maybe aren't going to come out with the right skill set or right proficiency. And then I think the other part is we got to look at process. Everything's about
Mm,
process. And so as we talk about technology in our technology conference, it's not necessarily just, here's all the technology you have, go. It's, what is the process we're going to define for how are we going to use the technology so we can lever and scale. And when you
mm.
can lever and scale off technology because you have the right process, and then you can spot check and you can make sure that you're getting the right data and the right information, then you can have
Mm,
proficiency. But you can't be a victim to the tools and resources that have been handed down because some other company's using it, and they can show
yeah.
you how they are getting massive returns on that. But but to what extent? What's the quality?
Okay.
What's the product? But knowing we have to play both sides of this, because we can't say, okay, I'm a purist and I'm not going to use Chat GPT. Yeah,
Mm,
it's naive. I'm going to
yeah.
understand how to use it as a tool. I'm going to understand how to use virtual estimate. I'm going to understand how to use all
Mhm,
this other stuff, and then
mhm.
I may become good at it. And kind of this lifetime of restoration that I've had.
Mm,
I remember when we first looking at computerized estimating, and there was this balance of, well, do we want to try to find something that nobody else has, or what we ended up deciding on was, let's get Xactimate. And this is probably 1991, 1992. It was a very, very long time ago. It might even be, yeah, it's probably 91. And the thought was, we need to understand it. And we need to understand it better than our competitors and better than
yeah,
our clients, so we can train
yeah,
and teach them how to use this. But we're the experts and we're good at it and we know how it
yeah,
works. And so I think that that's where part of what we need to look at in technology and how we're going to move this forward.
yeah. I'm glad Kevin Dooley is gonna be there. I'm glad he's gonna be on a panel. He
Yeah.
was on, the roundtable last night, and he wrote
Uh,
a couple articles last week on in LinkedIn, and one of the concepts he threw out there was called synergistic decline,
uh,
and was incredibly insightful, and its applications to our industry, and the ways in which that we've seen, especially over the last 10 years or so, the kind of a downward spiral developing in this negative feedback loop in a lot of the things that we do. And I
yeah.
think when we're talking about technology and these oncoming things and AI and all this stuff, we need to be cognizant of what feedback loops, positive and negative, are we building
Yeah.
in. And
Yeah.
relying blindly on the technology is also relying blindly on whatever biases were built into the technology,
Mm.
knowingly or unknowingly, by the whoever made it, right?
Which amplifies the biases. So
These
5 years
amplifies
from
the
now,
bias.
those biases have just been supported for 5 years.
Yeah, and we've now altered reality, without intention, and
Yes.
that's tough. That's really hard because then we
Yeah.
find ourselves so far down the road. How do you unwind it?
Yeah. So I have one panel that's, Kevin Dooley's not on that. That panel will be Matt Gregory and Russ Palmer.
Mm,
And Gregory.
okay.
So those two, I think they have a good handle on how they're using and leveraging technology, artificial intelligence, particularly in what they're doing and supporting and leveraging process. But
Mm,
Kevin. So Kevin is passionate about something, and he says, "This is what I want to talk about." So he wants to teach restorers how to use the technology at the field level to enhance the professionalism and the skill
mm,
set and the output of the technicians in the field. He says
of the tech.
we need
Yep.
to professionalize we need to turn this into a career. So we have career technicians who become really, really proficient at this. We can pay them more, they're worth more, more valuable, and we're creating a career path for somebody that was, when I started working with, it was the, I'm not gonna name names. It was a company that is not a client. It was a company I worked with. So you can go back in my bio and find it. And the thought was our technicians just need to walk and chew gum
Mm,
because it's a
mm,
turnover position. It's a high turnover position, and if we get somebody who gets out there, they can work hard and they can follow instructions. That's what we
yeah.
want for our technicians. That was 30 years ago, and
But that
so
was a
today's
self-fulfilling
technicians,
prophecy as well. Like, if
yes,
you're
it
not
was.
gonna expect anything more, you're not gonna get anything more.
Exactly. But so part of the limitations today are our output. What we can do is produce and
Mm,
do based on some algorithm that comes out of one of our estimating platforms that we have, and then how we can compensate and what the financial return is on those things. And so as we start changing and adding value, I think that,
mm,
I think what the hope and desire is that it becomes more valuable to the end users. It becomes a higher compensated, as well as proficiency becomes much more. And then I also think I see a transition going from direct unit cost on everything to a lot to maybe more time and material, more, really, um,
mm,
the E3 model of results based drying as
okay,
opposed to process based drying. And
okay.
so E3
Well,
is gonna
it's
E3 will be there at
science
the conference. So
science-based drying versus it's proactive versus reactive.
yeah.
That's where I think of E3 versus conventional whatever we're
Yeah.
doing today. And being proactive,
Mhm.
putting enough energy into the system to get an accelerated, positive result. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So let's wrap it up.
Okay,
I
you
put
betcha.
the rebuildconference.io. That's where you go to sign
Yes.
up. Um, it's
Okay.
to give me the dates again.
It's October 28th through the 30th. And we just added yesterday. I don't know if you're familiar with the trifecta leadership group with Rod Cruz. He
I'm
is going to
not.
do yeah. So Rod's, we're doing a 4 hour block on a leadership development for, it's for the company and for the individuals, the leaders in a company. So leadership development. And then there is a
Okay.
2 hour workshop at the end of that on how do you create a strategic plan, a methodology, and a process to implement technology in your company. And so there's two
Okay.
workshops that first day on the 28th, and then the 29th, 30th is the rebuild conference. That agenda is on the website. The workshop is being added as we speak because it was finalized yesterday. So there is a workshop beforehand. So yes, we are
This is
doing
called
everything
just
last
in
minute. We needed
time.
more.
This is
What's
called
that?
just in time conferencing.
Yes, absolutely. And it's it makes it better too. So sometimes
I
when
think
you
it's
plan
gonna
and
be
plan
fresh.
and plan, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be good. And hey, by the way, I am offering, and you'll see it in a number of places. So it's not an
Okay.
exclusive offer. I probably should do an exclusive one for you. But there is a 15% discount coupon code, and just enter in NET, NETAPP, NET app 15. And
Net
it's all
app
cap
15.
15. Yeah, save you 15%. So,
There we go. Why is this not posting? I can post over here. Net app
uh-huh.
15. I can post into the group, but I'm not posting across the socials. All right.
Okay.
We'll push
If
it out
people
there.
are listening, you'll get it. Yes. So pay attention. And yeah, I'd love for you guys to show up. It's, I'm excited about it. And
Good.
we're gonna help companies create scale, improve profitability, reduce cycle time, improve the performance and the communication in their company, provide better service, and add value in the whole restoration process.
Well, there's nothing wrong with anything in that sentence.
Ah, yes,
I
exactly.
love it.
So,
All right, Phil, I'm excited.
okay.
Hopefully I can make it. I'm trying really hard to move some things around so I can get there.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for sharing, and good
Okay.
on you for putting this together, man. It's a lot of work. I've done
Thank you.
probably not done something at this scale before, so but I do understand what it takes to do this. So um, good luck, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'll promote the hell out of it. And Rebels, get to San Antonio, do it. It's
Yes.
a great
Yes.
time.
I'd love to meet y'all.
All right,
I'd love to meet y'all.
all right. That's enough for now. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you.
Okay. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.